I was going to come up with something for myself to narrate, but I thought, I'll let you guys do it. I'll just watch.
All right. You got to write yourself into one of these sometime.
I will. I almost did it today.
Okay.
I was going to do the opening and opening monologue and kind of set up what's going on.
Oh, I see. Okay, yeah.
So what happened is, just so people know, in episode, what was it? Do you know the episode number where you disappeared?
31.
Episode 31. Zach was delivering eggs. Nobody knows what he was doing out there, but he was standing by the lighthouse, and something mysterious happened out there, and Zach was never heard from again until tonight.
Right.
Correct.
Correct.
So if you're not familiar with that, it's called the Lighthouse Incident. You can find it on YouTube. The KSEO Whodunit, What Done It, What the Heck is Going On Here, Murder Mystery, and Slightly Off Topic, Theater of Dubious Justice. Episode 31, The Lighthouse Incident, The Death of Zach. So it is now 2 weeks later.
2 weeks later.
And that's where we pick up. Okay?
Yeah. Episode 44, The Bumville Talent Show Tragedy. It started with the banana peel. Yeah, I know. Most of my cases don't kick off like a slapstick comedy sketch. But here in Bumville, the line between tragedy and absurdity is so thin, you could floss with it. Sheriff Alec Hale, longtime keeper of order in this misfit town under the Trestle Bridge, was found dead alongside the San Lorenzo River. Face down, covered in glitter, one hand clutching a rubber chicken, the other pointing toward a crushed folding chair and a copy of the Bumville Gazette. Page 3 had a poem. Not the weirdest thing I've seen. That title still belongs to the Walton Lighthouse Incident, when a lovesick sea monster mistook the harbor beacon for a mate and knocked the whole top floor sideways. That was episode 31, by the way. You can find it in the YouTube archives. One man disappeared that night. And if you believe in timing, the wrong kind. Tonight's the kind of night that lets things crawl back, heaving with something unspoken. And sure enough, somebody left us a poem sitting right there in the mud. I picked up the newspaper, brushed it off, and let the words hit me. The Final Stanza's calling card. He ruled with law but lacked all grace. He scorned my verse, he razed my place. So now he sleeps without a face. And the town moved on unaware. My lines were sharp, my meter tight. I struck at dusk, I fled by night. I left behind poetic fright. And turnips should never be stored in a saxophone. Bingo. The sicko who weaponizes poetry, the final stanza. I wasn't alone for long. Someone was headed my way, steady stride, familiar silhouette, like a guy casually returning from a trip he never should have survived. Zach walked in from stage left like he hadn't been swallowed by the Walton Lighthouse Incident, the one with the sea monster and the missing egg. Zach!
Hey, Billy?
You alive?
Last I checked.
Where have you been?
Would you believe me if I said underwater alien cornhole tournament?
Try me.
So I was dropping off a dozen eggs to the old harbor master, you know, the guy with the weird cough and the pet iguana, and just as I'm leaving, the lighthouse takes a hit. I slip, I fall in the bay, and boom, bright lights. Next thing I know, I'm kind of glowing dome beneath the surf. I hear voices, aliens chittering, echoing all around. One word keeps popping up. Cornhole. At first I panicked. They meant, my cornhole. It turns out they really did just want to play the game. Total relief.
Aliens?
Friendly ones. Real into lawn games, and they love show tunes.
And the sad part, around here, that's not even the weirdest alibi I've heard this year. But the timeline checked out. Zach vanished before Alec's final curtain call. Zach drifted off, leaving me alone with the corpse, the river, and a poem that started all this trouble. I needed answers. And when the trail goes cold, you go where the paperwork is warm. I headed to Alec's office. Inside, the place looked like a filing cabinet threw up. I dug through the records 6 months back. He'd shut down a public poem display in the square. Too lewd for the kids. A 3-stanza rant about meatloaf metaphors and barking enforcement. No author listed. But the style? Pure stanza. Looks like Alec had unknowingly started a literary feud with a criminal who dipped his quill in nightmares and scribbled threats across the margins of reality. Now Alec was dead, in a puddle, with feathers, and no witnesses. At least not until Zach's words echoed back into my head.
One of those aliens kept humming this weird tune. Real lullaby vibes, but the lyrics, all rhyming threats. Something about choking on metaphors and drowning in verbs?
The final stanza might be more than local. Might not even be terrestrial. He could be an alien, undocumented, unregistered, and definitely not filling out I-485 forms. But back here in Bumville, suspicion doesn't count as proof. So I went back to the scene. The folding stage sat lopsided, like it was embarrassed to be involved. I walked behind it, and that's when I saw it. Another poem carved into the wood. He laughed at verse and missed the mark. He mocked my tone from dawn to dark. So now my art shall leave its mark. And now he's buried in the public recreation zone. Premeditated. Scripted. Staged. And you know what's worse than a poet with a grudge? A poet with access to glitter. I gathered the town. Word spreads fast in Bumville, faster than truth, slower than gossip. People circled around waiting for answers or entertainment. Hard to tell which. Sheriff Alec Hale didn't fall. It was pushed. By rhyme. By ego. By a man who thinks adjectives are ammunition. And we're gonna find him! The crowd murmured, buzzed, shift, then drifted off into the night, each person taking their own theory home like it was leftovers. One sheriff down, one suspect vanished into metaphor, and Zach casually resurfacing from whatever weird aquatic subplot he got lost in. Bumville's weird, but it's mine. This one's for you, stanza. You vanish quick, you rhyming creep. I'll smoke you out from where you sleep. I'll bet your mama is a freak. And Zach showed up from nowhere. You scribbled threats in cursive rage. You heckled verbs off every page. One day you'll trip on your own stage. And that's why I brush my teeth with static electricity. Until next time, it's been Zach and your detective, Billy Armi.
What'd you think, Zach?
That was awesome.
That was good, dude. You guys did a good job.
Good job,
Thank
Zach.
you. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, you did a fantastic job.
Did a good job.
Bet you weren't expecting that, right?
I was not expecting that, but Billy does a great job.
Oh,
I mean, he's got the noir just down.
Yeah, Dave and I
the
are a good
script
team on these.
Yes.
Yeah, doesn't Dave write these scripts? Are so good.
Yeah, man, the
All
script
right,
is
let's
really
not puff
good.
ourselves up. That was
Oh, yeah.
episode 44. We all did a good job. Hope you enjoyed it. And you can check them out at the 1080 After Dark podcast.
That's right.
Or they're on YouTube also. But we try to do them every Friday. They're a lot of fun.
Someone says, Zach acted and read really well. He's acted in plays. I can tell.
Right on.
Signed his
Right
mom.
on.
Good
job,
Mrs.
Mom.
Zach.
That's cool.